Hello there, YouTube. Let's get this started. So, it's 25 to 9 in the evening on the Sunday, so there's every possibility this isn't actually going to go up until Monday early hours. But I'll try and get it up for Sunday. I was planning on recording this earlier, but I wasn't feeling too well. I ended up with a migraine, and sadly spent most of the day in bed just kind of shaking that off. So I've not felt well enough to record until now. But I want to keep up with the weekly wrap-ups and just discuss what has been going on in my life, what I've been consuming when it comes to media, and to just generally discuss geek media and geek hobbies. So, where does that leave us? Well, this week I've had an interesting experience. I didn't get much reading done. I have started on the first law, the Blade itself. Only a few chapters in, so I don't really have anything to say on it yet. It's still forming in my mind. I have my copy of Philip K. Dick's Ubik has arrived. It's actually really big print. So I suspect this would be a really quick read. It's only 200 and something pages, like 224 pages. So I suspect this is going to be one hell of a quick read. Like, let's go ahead and 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 30. Okay, so we've got 10 by 34, so 340 words per page. That's less than most. And then when we take off chapter breaks and things like that, that brings it down to around 310 words per page. 310 words per page, 224 pages. This is a really short book. So we're looking at maybe 75,000 words, right? That's a simple one to get through. So I suspect that I'll be able to get through what's been voted as our buddy read for the next couple of months quite comfortably. What I am finding, though, is that I'm really stumbling my way through last month's buddy reads. Both of these books, I'm barely reading them at more than a few pages a day, if that. Like, I'll open up and I'll struggle my way through a single chapter, and I will feel tired afterwards. Now, I don't know what's bothering me at the moment. I don't know if this is just some kind of reading slump that I'm in at the moment. But it's not that I'm not enjoying them. I am enjoying them. I'm just struggling to find the energy. So I have very little to say on books at the moment. I'm enjoying Armour the Sphinx still. It's got a nice tone to it. I'm liking the change in perspective for Caliban's War. It's nice to have a few different perspectives. But other than that, I have very little else to say. So reading-wise, it's been a very short time for me. When it comes to fiction, at least. Non-fiction, on the other hand, I've managed to make my way through the vast majority of Jordan Peterson's 12 More Rules for Life, which I've been listening to on audiobook. I found that when I'm not feeling well, I struggle to be able to read books, but listening to books is fine. But I can't listen to fiction. For some reason, fiction goes in one ear and out the other. I never seem to retain it. But non-fiction, I can listen to quite comfortably. And I think it's mainly because I was used to listening to lectures and things like that, so factual information sticks with me. But I like to be able to read at my own pace when I'm imagining things. So maybe that's the reason. Or maybe it's that a lot of non-fiction is written to be really redundant. Like, they tend to repeat points. They tend to hammer everything home, so they don't just say something once, they say it 3 or 4 different times in a few different ways to make sure that you understand the principles, so it's a lot easier to follow. A good example of that is Richard Dawkins' The God Delusion, which I think every single point is hammered home to a degree where it could be half the length it would be and still have most of the same content. But at the same point, I'm saying that as an atheist who already agrees with its points, maybe they needed that level of repetition and reinforcement to get through to people who have faith and have them consider the ideas within. Maybe. It seems to have worked for a lot of people. It's an extremely popular book, so I'm not going to claim that that it's unnecessarily padded. It just feels it to me. Still a great book though. So that's how reading has gone for me. It's been an interesting experience, and I don't feel like I'm really getting much in the way of reading time in. So I'm going to start devoting a little bit of extra reading time in now, because I'm finding that my morning read, it used to be that I'd be up at 8 o'clock and I'd read in bed up until between 9 and 10, and I'd get a solid hour's reading a day. I'm not doing that now. I'm finding that I'm rolling over, I'm pressing the snooze button, and I'm sleeping for that extra hour. So I'm losing that reading time. So I'm tempted to give myself an evening hour of reading as well, to try and push myself to do some more reading and actually get through the books I want to read, because otherwise I'm not going to have the time. That aside, the media that I've been consuming has been largely superhero. It's been almost entirely superhero this week. This is the week of cape stuff. I went to the cinema for the first time in over a year, I think now. There was like a 2-week period in the middle of lockdown where all the restrictions were lifted, and then they were put back in place. And I went to the cinema once to see the film Tenet by what's the director's name? Christopher Nolan. And I hated it. It was awful. It was so badly shot, you could barely hear what was going on. It was confusing and pointless. So that was a really, really disappointing experience for the one time I was able to go to the cinema in the entire year. But that was the last thing I saw in the cinema. So going this week, I was able to see both Black Widow and The Suicide Squad. And I was quite entertained. Neither were fantastic films, which actually I find quite weird, is that The Suicide Squad has been getting really good reviews, and Black Widow has been getting really middling reviews. And I'm not sure why, because they're both about on par when it comes to general quality. They both have their good points, their bad points. I'd say The Suicide Squad was a little bit more entertaining. I enjoyed it just a touch more because it has the freedom of not having to be PG-13 rated for America, which is 12 rated for Britain. And that gives it a lot more freedom. Like, being able to have a bit of gore and a little bit of risque content means they can do more with it. But both films were entertaining, and despite the tendencies of both James Gunn when it comes to The Suicide Squad, shut up phone, both James Gunn when it comes to Suicide Squad and Disney when it comes to the MCU now, neither film felt preachy, neither film felt like political propaganda, neither film felt the need to insert feminist bullshit. And for Black Widow, that was impressive. This is literally a film about the systemic oppression of a group of women as some kind of assassin class, and almost the entire cast were women. And they didn't have an overarching feminist message. That's fantastic. Like, it's nice to be able to just watch a film and if the film be about the topic the film is supposed to be about. It's a rarity that we get that now. So I was really pleased. Outside of the cinema, I've watched very little in the way of TV. I was watching Farscape last week, and in a little over a week, I watched 13 episodes of Farscape because I was just really getting into like the sci-fi feel. And since then, I haven't watched a single episode of Farscape. I've watched a little bit of YouTube. I watched a breakdown of one of the seasons of Survivor, which I found fascinating. I've been playing a few video games, though I've not been spending much time in video games, less than I did last week. I've actually spent most of my time this week just kind of doing your basic chores that I need to do, like household tasks, self-care. I've spent more time just tidying up and making myself feel comfortable rather than actually engaging with media, which is all important stuff. Like sometimes you need to take a day out and go, right, okay, I need to tidy up the house, I need to wash the dishes, I need to do the laundry, I need to I need to do stuff that needs doing. But the problem with me is that if I do that, that's the entire day gone. Because unlike most people who can spend like an hour just tidying up and quickly wash the dishes for 20 minutes and then they're fine. For me, that's an all-day activity because of chronic fatigue and chronic pain. I'm aware of just how little I can pull off. I'm also aware of how badly I've injured my knee. I can no longer walk those few yards I used to be able to walk. I cannot make it to the shop and back on my own now. I am fairly sure that if I tried, I would end up having quite a bad injury. I'm struggling to move around the house. So that fall I had with the glorious black eye, the eye was the least of the troubles. Like the pain that I have from the sciatica in my back and the pain and swelling, I get continuous swelling now in my right knee. That is a problem. Like my knee will kind of swell on the right hand side of the right knee, and it feels like the skin's filling up with liquid. It's really, really uncomfortable, and the pain is constant. So that's been putting me down a lot this week. Still, as weeks go, it was a less productive week than I'd want, but I got to watch a few films, and I've got to spend a bit of time playing a few games. The one game that I did spend a lot of time with was Spider-Man Miles Morales, which I mentioned last week. I've got about halfway through that game, so I'm going to continue playing that, and it's going to be a bit longer than I thought to get the Platinum Trophy in Miles Morales. I thought it would be an easy, done in like 8 hours or so, because that's the length I've been told. 2 of the trophies require you to play the game on New Game Plus, so that's a sneaky way of extending it a little bit for the trophy, but it's not so bad. What else? I don't think I really played much of anything else. I never got around to playing any of the platformers I wanted to play. So I think that's been it for me. Like I say, it's very, very heavily focused on superhero stuff, and that's it, to the exclusion of pretty much everything else. So what do I have coming up for next week? Because obviously I've got a few different things happening, and one of the big things is that the end of next week. Why phone? Shut up. Right. At the end of next week, I have my brother coming to visit me and stay with me. So he will be here on the Sunday. So I have 1 week before he gets here. So I'm going to use that week to make the place nice. Make sure to set up the guest bed and everything for him. But also, I'm just going to relax. I'm going to spend a bit more time with my books. I'm not going to do anything too strenuous. I'm not going to be going to the cinema or anything like that next week, because for the week when my brother's down, I'm probably going to spend a bit of time out of the house. Probably going to go out, maybe go to the cinema, maybe go out for a meal or something at a restaurant, that kind of thing. Whilst he's able to visit. So I want to keep my energy up for that, and given how much pain I've been in recently, I'm going to take it very easy over the next week. So I think the next week I'm going to focus on reading my books. I've got the 4 books you saw there. So I'm going to read my way through them. I'm going to play through the rest of Spider-Man, and I'm probably going to carry on with Farscape and finish off season 1 of Farscape, and that's going to be my week. That's my plan. So next week's is going to be a bit samey, I think, but that's okay. We can have a relaxation week. There are a few things that have happened. There's a few new books that have come out that people are excited about. There's a new Stephen King book. I'm looking into it. I might pick it up. Haven't decided yet. But that's pretty much it for me. So it's a nice short one this week. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch up with you next time. I do have a few videos planned that I want to make. So those will be interesting. A few videos that I do want to put up, in fact. Obviously, I'm working on spending more time reading so that I can put some more book videos up. But also, I want to put more video game videos up as well. There's a couple of videos that I've been in the middle of making, one of which being my top 10 platformers of various different kinds. So top 10 linear platformers, top 10 exploration platformers, etc. Which I will be titling Top 10 Metroidvania, even though I hate the name, just because that's what people will search to find it. It's going to piss me off, but I'm going to have to name it that, otherwise no one will be able to find it. No one uses the term exploration platformer, but they should. So I'm going to put those up. Just trying to spread the love a little bit when it comes to those kinds of games. I was very pleased to see that that mentioning my video on J.K. Rowling on Reddit got that a few views recently. That video has spiked viewership, and I'm very pleased. It's a video that I didn't realise until I rewatched it, but it's probably one of my best videos. The message that I had in that, it's an hour long, but I go into depth on some very, very personal issues, some very nuanced political positions, and I stay calm throughout. I'm not even sure that there's much in the way of swearing. Like, I think I swear maybe 3 times in the whole video, which is not like me. I swear like a damn sailor. So that was an interesting thing, like watching back one of my own videos, because someone commented on it and said that they were really, really pleased with it, and they disagree with me generally politically, but this video they were happy with. So I thought, oh right, what did I do in this video that actually changed her mind, actually made someone consider this position? And I rewatched it, and I was amazed at just how calm I stayed. And it's actually slightly annoying that video has a few hundred views, whereas the video I made on Movie Bob, just for the sake of it, has well over 4,500, and is quickly gaining views every day. It really pisses me off, actually, that the Movie Bob video is by far my most popular, because it's not an important video. It's not an unimportant video. It's not crap. It's not just some silly sketch. It's got something of value. But the J.K. Rowling video is one that I'm very, very pleased with, and I kind of wish that had pushed itself forward a little bit further, because it talks about so many issues that I think people need to hear, but it talks about them in a calm manner that I think very few people actually engage in when it comes to this topic. So I think it's genuinely something new. It's a stance that I think could actually give some positive influence, generally speaking. Like, if people on both sides of the argument heard this video, I think it would mellow out the discussion and make a lot of people less angry. So I'm kind of hoping that momentum for that video will continue, and that maybe a few people will see it. If nothing else, that video I think could have a positive influence. So that would be nice. But yeah, I do want to do a couple more videos like that. I've discovered that one of the things that that I can do well is I can make videos where I can discuss politics and culture as part of a discussion of media and make it interesting on both sides. So I may look into working out a couple of ways of taking political issues and working them into videos without making the videos seem preachy or just shouting for the sake of shouting, because that's not going to be any fun to anyone. I do actually still want to put up just standard reviews and things like that, though. So I'll look into that and we'll see what comes in the next week. But until then, this has been my weekly wrap-up for the week ending the 8th of August 2021. Thanks for joining me. Bye.